All right, guys, it's about that time for that very special time that we all came for. Welcome to Uninterrupted presents the Shop Super Bowl edition pop-up, man. We're about to have a very good panel discussion about that grit, that winning mentality, what it takes to be a champion. And we got one of the biggest champions, one of the hardest NFL players I've ever seen, my guy Vernon Davis, to the stage. Make some noise for Vernon Davis, everybody.
Let's go. I'd like to thank y'all for being here today. This is going to be epic. I hope y'all enjoy it. I got 3 outstanding guys up here who y'all going to have a chance to hear from. And hopefully you guys can leave here with something. We have Julian Edelman, one of the best. He's one of the best postseason receivers I've ever seen. Not only that, he's won 3 Super Bowl titles. This guy right here also won 3 Super Bowl titles, but with different franchises. He's also one of those guys that I look at and I just can't. Sometimes I think to myself, like, how did he get through everything that he had to fight through? I mean, his back was against the wall, and for him to achieve some of the things that he achieved is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. LeGarrette Blount.
I ain't got that story right, bro, but you know what I'm talking about, though.
This guy right here won a college championship, and if you guys had a chance to look at him in Denver and some of the things he's able to do as a young guy in the NFL, which is not easy, you understand who he is and what he brings to the table. Jeudy, everybody. So a lot of times when you're in the NFL, you need to find something within yourself. And sometimes that can be hard if you don't have the motivation to do it. And grit is everything that you need to stay motivated on the football field. And for all of you guys, what does grit mean to you?
Grit is getting up and doing something you don't want to do to better yourself. You know, like the grind of the season. Grit is getting up in week 12, you're banged up, you're about to play some team that you know you're going to blow out. How are you going to get motivated? It's by getting out and doing that same routine you've been doing your whole career, your whole season, even when it's not fun. That's grit to me.
Man, I'll backdoor that and say, for me, grit is just the off-season grind, man. That is where you work the hardest and work the most, and no one recognizes it and sees it. You know, you got to do all the work behind closed doors to see the finished product whenever you get to training camp. So those are the dog days where you got to wake up and go to 3 workouts a day or 2 workouts a day, and make sure you're eating right, and make sure you gotta stay away from the clubs and the parties and stuff throughout the off season as much as possible. That is that goes to your discipline and your grit right there.
For me, just double back off what Julian Garrett said, you know, just having that hunger, you know, and just being able to just keep grinding even when it's tough and things not going your way, and just having a laser focus to get where you're going, no matter how tough it be.
What is your take on players coming in and coaches not? As a coach, I'm looking at you, right? And I want to know, okay, I'm bringing this guy in as a rookie, right? I believe in him, but he's probably one of those guys that can come in and tap into his true talents, or he's one of those guys that's going to take him 3 to 4 years. As a coach, what do you do to a player in that situation? I want you to go behind the coach. What are you doing? How are you evaluating that? How are you going to handle that guy that's taking 3 years to come around and be that true talent that he's supposed to be?
My opinion, I think that you got to really trust that guy, and that guy has to trust you and trust the process. They have to know exactly what you want from them. Now, obviously, you know that this is going to be a huge thing with patience. If this is going to be one of your guys, it's going to take a few years. All these first round guys don't come out and look like Jerry. All these guys don't come out and look like Justin, and all these guys don't come out looking like these, you know, phenomenal football players that you guys see as rookies and out here breaking all kind of records. They don't all look like that. You know, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 years. So, you know, it just takes the patience. You got to make sure you got the right coaching and the right team around him, the right environment, give him the resources and access to all the people that are going to, elevate his game, the veterans, the guys that have come before him. Those are the steps that you take to help those guys that that are special elevate their game and become greater faster.
I think every situation is different. I was a 7th-round draft pick. It took me years to develop, but I had to make myself valuable. And I don't know what the coaches are thinking. I'm not in coaching, but as players, when you're a 1st-round draft pick, you can say what you want to say. You're going to have more opportunity. You're going to have more leeway. If you're a late-round draft guy and you don't come in turning heads on offense, I had to go the special team route. So it all depends on each situation. It also depends on the coaching staff situation because, if you're a rookie head coach or you're a head coach in the 2nd year of his first time being a head coach, he's not going to be as patient as a guy like Bill Belichick who's been there for 20 years, who has 6 rings. Those guys have the luxury of not being able to get fired if they take a chance on a young guy. So I think that's a loaded question because every situation with every player is always different.
As I gotten older, and whenever I step on the football field, I felt like this anxiety running through my body. What if I drop a pass? What if I don't run the correct route? What if I'm in the end zone and I drop a pass when I'm standing in the end zone, right? And it actually happened to me before. I dropped the pass in the end zone. Alex Smith drops back. He throws a bomb for like 40 yards. I'm standing there, and I'm at the top of my career right now. I just had 180 yards in one game against the Arizona Cardinals. How do you deal with that fear of the unknown of what could possibly happen? How do you deal with that?
For me, I be feeling that anxiety moment. I understand that feeling. You just want to do everything great. You feel me when you get on the field and you just want to ball. For me to deal with that, you just got to go through it. You feel me? Ain't nothing. You can't really do nothing to. You may think about it a lot. It's all about your thought process. So you may go through it, but the only way to go through it is by going through it. If you know what I'm saying. So.
No, I'm with you. As a running back up here, I've had the same feelings of anxiety. I've been in the position to where I've had a great season, led the league in NFL rushing touchdowns, the whole 9. We got into the Super Bowl and I fumbled the ball, right? It just happens, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you're, that you suck or anything like that. One thing I say we have to do to get over it is just we're professional athletes. We've been trained and taught over the course of our entire career and life, next play. Don't get discouraged. Don't get down on yourself. You guys are the best of the best out here. So that's, like he said, man, it's just something that you got to go through and see how you come back off of it on the backside of it on the other end. And that goes to, the resiliency of these players and what they do and how much they prepare for these games.
As a player, when I was fearful or I had anxiety, that usually means you're thinking about the future. You're stressed out, you're thinking about the past. And for me individually, what I had to do to get myself in the mindset to be as confident as possible was I had to practice. Whenever I had a little case of that yip, I always thought, man, I can work my way out of this. Because the more you do it, the more you see it, the more confidence you're going to do it. The harder you practice, you're putting yourself in the situations that you're going to be going through in the game. So the harder that I practice, like our practices in New England, LG could talk, they were harder than games because of how hard we practice. And I needed that individually because that made the game easy. You already have the answers to the test. You already know what's going on. Now it's just about going out and executing. And once you go in confident because of the hard work and the prep, you shouldn't have that fear. Yes, things happen, but that's also, you have to have a short memory as a professional athlete or as any athlete, whether it's good or bad, got to have that short memory because there's always the next play.
Nice. I love that. So I want to go back to grit. We all know what grit is, the passion and perseverance to achieve long-term goals. Is grit something you need to become an NFL player and to make it to the Super Bowl and become a Super Bowl champion?
Of course, because like you said, them days gonna be hard. becoming the champion is hard. Being a Super Bowl winner is hard, you feel me? So there's gonna be a lot of obstacles you gotta go through, you feel me? But you're gonna be tired, you're gonna be banged up, you're gonna be hurt, but you gotta have that grit to keep finishing, keep going through.
We play a team sport now, and, I'd be lying to you when you say that every guy on the team's gritty, because not every guy on the team is gritty. There's guys that have roles. There's a gritty guy. There's a guy that's a skill guy. There's a guy that can fly, who's faster than there's everyone's got their own role. I think it's more about the team chemistry and leaning on other guys and having that accountability factor with your teammates. That's what, grit kind of really is. Hey, we're all accountable for everything. There's not a guy that's always going to go across the middle and leave his body defenseless for the ball. That's just not going to happen, but you might have a teammate that will. So it's all about that team chemistry, you know what I mean?
When it comes to getting to the Super Bowl and, playing in the NFL and things like that, just like he said, we've been a part of the same organization, so we got a lot of the same common morals and things like that. So, you gotta have a supporting cast, if that's what you want to call it. You gotta have guys that are willing to go out there and do those things, that are willing to go out there, because like you said, man, it's not a team full of gritty guys that get to the Super Bowl, right? You're gonna have your leader, you're gonna have your big time leader, you're gonna have your gritty guys, you're gonna have your guys that are gonna step up and have a couple of plays a game. Some games might not be required for that role. Some games LeGarrette might have 28 carries and the third down back might have 3 plays. Some games LeGarrette might have 12 carries and the third down back might have 10 catches. So it's just roles. And I think the way the game plays out throughout the course of the game, that's a big part of it as well. That's where you might have to adjust your roles as such. But you got to have all those guys in the right roles fitting in at the right moment to get to where we are today for, the Eagles and the Chiefs. You got to have everything fall into place perfectly. You know that.
I also think, to piggyback off of LG, it's not necessarily about grit. It's more about mental toughness, because there is that third down running back that only gets 3 plays that game. And what is mental toughness? We were always defined that mental toughness is doing what's best for the team when it's not necessarily best for you. That's mental toughness. And so if you have a bunch of mentally tough guys, they don't have to be gritty. They got to do what's best for the team, what their role is. That's what gave us our best success, and that's why we went on a run.
Is there a limit to how good you can be? Is there a limit? Does it ever stop? Can you continue to get better even if you've achieved everything that you imagine?
To me personally, I feel like there's always something you can work on. There's always a little tweak to your game you can fix to make it even more better. You feel me? So to me, yeah, you always could get better in my opinion.
As a competitor, I was around a bunch of competitors, and the one thing that always stuck out is that the guys that were the most competitive guys were never satisfied. I had my best game in Super Bowl 53 or something like that. Super Bowl MVP, 11 for off of 12 targets, 150 balls. After that game, I thought about that one play or those 3 blocks I could have done better that would have sprung. There's always something you can do to make your game better, because no one goes out and plays a perfect game. It's crazy. This game, everyone gets paid. There's some really good dudes on every team, so something's gonna go wrong. So it's about being able to do that. But like I said, that never satisfied feeling is something that drives, I would say, the great players.
I feel like you always got to have that pit in your stomach for more. You always got to have that's what makes us be able to play this game for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Is if you get content and complacent, obviously, what more can you bring to the game? What more can you bring to the table? There's nothing that you could bring to the table if you feel that way. So in order for you to get better and grind, and me as an undrafted free agent, I started from the complete bottom. I got picked up by the Tennessee Titans. I got got picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers behind a guy that was a first-round draft pick, number 5 pick, Cadillac Williams, and great, thankful for that, because he showed me the way. he wasn't one of those veterans that was going to be, hey, man, y'all brought this guy in to take my job, yada, yada, yada. Now, eventually that did happen, but it wasn't because he came or I came out there and was like, hey, this my job, this da 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 da. No, I used him as a learning tool, someone that I could learn from, somebody that I could lean on if I didn't know what I was doing. And I continued to do that as I got older and older. Before I became the vet in the room, I always had a vet guy in front of me that I was able to learn from, that I was able to gather information, how to be a professional, how to come into the building, how to study, all those things. And I never stopped being hungry for that knowledge. And that's what drove me, and that's what got me to the position to where I was able to play 9 years as an undrafted guy.
Bill Belichick has the record for the most Super Bowl wins as a head coach. Everyone knows that he has, you laughing because you know what I'm about to say. Everyone knows that he has quirky personality traits. Has there ever been an awkward moment?
There's a moment every day. Bill's got like a different kind of personality. Like a lot of people think he's just a robot, which he kind of is. But, when you have him in an environment where there's no one else and it's just the team, he clowns on fools. Like he'll sit here. We missed an easy play, and we blew this team out. We blew them out. And we came in the next day, and he sits there and he goes, Brady Edelman, you mean to tell me you can't hit a fucking wide route? I mean, we got kids in Foxborough High that can hit a you know what I mean? So he would always do stuff like that would just embarrass guys because the whole team's there, and it's that whole accountability factor. If he's getting on you, that means everyone's fair play. So he was always really funny with it, and you couldn't always laugh, even though you wanted to. But I enjoyed those moments, even though I was getting MF'd the whole time.
I've had a similar kind of situation with Bill, except for mine was in the meeting room, and he is like Jules said, to go off of that, man. He can be a funny guy. He can be a jokester. But it's only when we're around each other. It's not around a lot of people. So, and one particular story for me is when I first got to New England, I didn't know about this. So we came into a meeting room, and he pulled up and we pulled out the iPads or whatever on the screen, and he goes to ask these questions. And I've never been in this position before, because when I was in Tampa Bay, there was no, who's the defensive coordinator of the team that we're playing against? I had never had to answer those questions. And I remember him asking me who was the second or third string linebacker for this team, and I had no answer for him. And he just looked at me with the craziest look. It was like, Roy, you're not going to, if you don't know who you're playing against, how are you going to go out there and play? And this is obviously at the point where, I'm here with Stephen Ridley, and I'm still trying to figure out how things work over here and things like that. So, he had me out there, and he pulled me to the side after we came out, and he was like, bro, if you're gonna be here, you're gonna have to know who's going to be where at all times. So you're going to have to know the inside linebacker that is second string is going to move the outside linebacker if that guy go down, and, this, that, and the other. So at that point in time, that's when I knew right then that this was different. I was going to have a different type of relationship with this guy, and we've been solid ever since then.
I know exactly. Sometimes it could just be a look. Like if you don't know something, he'll give you like a look, like a weird look, like
15, 20-second pause too.
Whole squad there, and he'll just look at you, and you don't know what to say. He ain't gonna say, and then while he's looking at you, he's rewinding the play that you messed up on like 7-8 times, just rewinding it. You're sitting there like, can we move on to the next fucking play? I mean, Jesus, you know what I mean? So it's
5
crazy.
minutes, 10 minutes on that.
So look, tell us about Tom Brady. Everyone knows that Tom Brady's the GOAT on the field. But what is he like off the field?
Honestly, he's like awkwardly nice. He's like a sweet person, and he's just a really good dude with everyone in the building. Like we have the facility people that are doing our laundry, the people that cook our food. There's so many people in the building. He knows everyone's name. He's like a consummate professional. And then when you get him around just the boys, I mean, he's just one of the guys. He's talking crap. He's very competitive, and I was always one to kind of rip him, to kind of try to make him look normal because, you got guys that weren't even born when they get into the locker room when they're 20, 22, 21 years old that have been watching this guy their whole life, and they look at Tom Brady and they don't understand that it's your teammate. You know what I mean? So, I was always a guy that would always kind of bust his balls and make him try to feel human because, he's like one of the guys.
Yeah, nah, he is. He's a cool dude, man. He's a family guy. He knows my kids by name. I'm pretty sure he knows Jules' daughter by name, and he's a really personable guy. You guys get something different when you see him on the media and in a lot of media outlets. You guys get a lot of different things, but man, he's down to earth. He can joke, clown around. Obviously, you guys seen him post a picture in his drawers. He probably should not be doing that at 50 years old. So he's a good dude, man. He's a good guy. Definitely very competitive. That's one thing that you're gonna always hear that is gonna be associated with him, whether it's football, basketball, anything, and you make up any kind of games when you're in the locker room during training camp, shooting the basketball in the trash can and shit. So he's a competitive dude, man, and he's down to earth. I think a lot of people would be surprised at how nice and genuine he is as a person, for real.
And one note to people out there, never gamble against someone who's super competitive that has a lot more money than you, because you will be there all day until that one time where the triple or quadruple or nothing. Like, I was beating his ass on ping pong all day long, and he was down a lot of money, and he keeps going until that one time he catches you slipping, and then he ain't letting you live it down.
It's one thing to have a quarterback, but you always want that quarterback to be just like you guys described and want them to know your name, know your kids' names. It don't always happen like that. I've been on the other side. I've had all kinds of quarterbacks. I've been through so many of them. But that's awesome to hear that, man. I love it. Jerry, tell us about Nick Saban. How does he have so much success?
He keep everything. He got everything so organized and so tied up. He got his way of doing things. The way. Like Julian was saying about mentality, that's his biggest thing, just having a strong mentality and having a strong mental. So just him, the way he do things, the way he go about his business, the way he handle his business, it tells you a lot, So having a coach like that, you learn a lot from him. You learn not to be complacent, and never get bored of doing the same things over and over. So that's what he be doing, and you see what it got him, 16, 17 national championships. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, for sure.
I want to touch one of them.
I'm sure you learned a lot from him, and, just his winning spirit, I'm sure it, rubbed off on you in some kind of way. No, that's awesome. Julian, that famous game against the Atlanta Falcons, you guys were down 28-3. One of the greatest comebacks of all time, in my opinion. I'm sure everybody's opinion. What were you guys saying in the locker room?
So I was like, it's going to be a hell of a story, fellas. It's going to be good. We're good. We turned the ball, because we went into that game with 3 keys. We said we couldn't turn the ball over. We had to score touchdowns in the red area, and we had to do well on 3rd down. In the first quarter, we were driving the ball very well. We go in, LG, we had a fumble in the red area. Then Tom throws a pick 6 in the red area. So it wasn't like we didn't have things going on. So once we got in there, it was like, yo, guys, we're not going to win this thing with just one play. Let's just worry about what we all got to do on each and every play, and let's see where it gets us. You know what I mean? And being the rah-rah guy, it's going to be a hell of a story. Have a great punt return. Our defense holds them. It's the first 3rd down. I cooked the dude. Over the middle, drop the ball. I'm saying, oh my fuck. You know what I mean? Being a rah-rah guy out of the huddle, and then we went on the thing and did it. It was a crazy comeback, man. That team had some unbelievable mental toughness that you saw throughout the whole year. And, it's still, you watch to this day, it's still pretty crazy that we came back and won that thing.
Faced a lot of adversity throughout the process as well, because in the beginning of the season, 12 was suspended for the first 4 games. So, it was a miracle for us to get there.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, because normally in a game, especially at the level we play, if you're down like that, I mean, the odds against you, you're not going. It's hard to come back and beat a team, especially an NFL team. So for you guys to do that, I mean, that's impressive, man.
And I know it sounds kind of like lame, but like we had a bunch of regular season wins in like 13, 14, 16 of that year. Like we were down to, I think, New Orleans with like 20 seconds to go or like a minute to go, 2 touchdowns. We ended up winning that. So you had this built in your head, like we could do this. And it was through, the prep and the old games that we played in. So you had a lot of guys that still believed in it, and that's what it was. It was guys believing that, we could do this still, and confidence goes a long way. That momentum throughout a football game, if you got a real confident group of guys, and they really buy in, I mean, a lot of crazy things can happen on that field.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That was great information. LG, you were a 2-star recruit. You went to Eastern Mississippi Community College. And you guys were also on a Netflix show called Last Chance U. I remember that. That was a great show. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? And also in 2010, you were undrafted. Walk us through your mindset. How did you stay so motivated? Because that's hard to do when the odds are against you. When I look at your career, I mean, you're so inspired. You inspire me. I'm a little older than you. I'm probably old enough to be your uncle. But tell us, man, that is so inspiring, man, your story.
The reason, backstory behind that, I got to that position of being rated number 1 or number 2 running back coming out of college. Everybody knew that I was probably one of the better ones. Incident in college, punched a guy on a national televised game, only game on television, so obviously it was going to be run all the way until the next game was played on Thursday or Saturday. And so we got to the draft, and the whole draft went by. I got a phone call from a guy that coached you, Mike Singletary, in about the 5th or 6th round, and he told me, and this was this kind of added fuel to the fire. It was like, hey, LeGarrette, our pick is coming up. We thinking about grabbing you. Would you want to be a 49er? At this point in time, I'm like, bro, I don't care who draft me. I just want to go. And it kind of hit me hard because whenever the pick came, they picked a running back, but it was Anthony Dixon from Mississippi State.
AD.
Yes.
Booby D.
Booby, that's my guy. And that's my guy. That's my dude. I had fun and got to meet him at the combine, and he was a cool guy and all that. But that kind of lit a fire under me. And then on top of that, they gave me a call after the draft was over and told me, hey, we would love for you to join. I'm like, bro, you just called me and told me that you was gonna pick me and then not pick me and then come try to call me to join your team as a free agent and get the fuck out of here. So I ended up signing with the Tennessee Titans, and Lindell White was going at the time. And a motivating aspect of this whole thing was, you mean to tell me that, I'm not naming any names, but you mean to tell me that this guy, and this guy is better than me? I don't know if y'all even really believe that, but I refuse to believe it. Until this day, I had a chip on my shoulder saying that if I got an opportunity to get in this league and show what I can do, they gonna feel me. And I got into the league, obviously with the Tennessee Titans, got let go and got to the Buccaneers and rushed for 1,000 as an undrafted free agent. And I did my thing there, and at that point, that kind of solidified, how good of a player I was, because out of all the guys that was drafted and picked before me and all this, I'm the most successful one. I played the longest. I won the most. I got the most rings. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was extremely hard to tell myself or make it make sense to myself that I understand I made a mistake, but how come these guys deserve more than I deserve, or how do they get more I guess respect than what I have. Obviously I'm a 19-year-old kid that made a mistake on national television, and I didn't think that I deserved the death penalty for that. From being probably the first or second running back taken in the draft to not even getting picked up. And I can name a lot of incidents, that's happened before and after that. The sentence wasn't the same. So, man, I just had to keep driving. I had a really, really, really supportive cast behind me with my parents, I had at that time my kid was still, my daughter was two or three, and I think my son was 1. We just kept on grinding. Me and my mom went for a walk after the draft. She talked to me and she told me, she said, LeGarrette, if you let this kick you and keep you down, you're gonna remain here in Perry for the rest of your life. And Perry, for the people that don't know, that's a small town of about 6,500 people. So it's not a lot of people there. It's 1 high school, 1 middle school. There's not a lot of options to do anything out there. So, I picked my shoulders up and put my chest out and made sure that I was prepared for the next opportunity that came my way, and just tried my best not to get discouraged along the path.
That's amazing. Hope we can all learn something from that, because I know I just did. That's beautiful. Julian, you played quarterback at Kent State. Were you able to take any of those, the skills that you learned from playing quarterback and could you apply them into your ability to be a wide receiver?
Being a quarterback helped me as a receiver for like coverage recognition, little things what the quarterback hated when I was a quarterback, like when the receiver didn't run flat to downhill on an in-cut or an out-cut, who he wasn't protecting quarterback's throw. Like I always had that fundamentally in my game, knowing zones and spots and where you had to be. But it took me a while to learn how to run routes. It took me experience. It took me failures. It took me a lot of film study on learning how to run routes, because it's like dancing. Like you have to learn body movement. You have to learn what your partner, the guy who's covering you, what his body movement feels like. And so it took me a couple years, 3 years really, to learn how to run routes. Yeah, there are some things that helped me as a quarterback with coverage recognition and knowing all those little things, but it took me a while to learn through film study, watching Wes Welker, that was ahead of me at the time, and watching guys like Devon Bess, and there was a bunch of guys that I would just sit and watch their film, and I wanted to know why he was catching 86 balls. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like being a quarterback helped me right away, but there were things that being a quarterback helped me with.
I wish I had that as a tight end, because I'm telling you, being a tight end, we have to know so much information, man. We have to know cover 2, the middle field's open, if it's closed. Is it 2-man? You got to know. You got to read all that stuff, and people don't understand what's going through our mind when we release from that line of scrimmage. There's so much going through our mind, and Jerry, you can probably attest to this too, Jerry, because we just have to know so much. You can't just run a route. You have to see what's going on. You have to be really precise.
Y'all also need to know the running patterns too, blocking as well.
Exactly.
That pre-snap and post-snap picture. Everyone has a pre-snap picture. Your corners can lie, they could be pressed, but when you're watching the safeties, post-snap, when they say hut, and they go from 2 shell to 1 shell, you have outside, like all those things are happening fast. And if you're working in that slot, or if you're a tight end, you have to be on that same picture and that same chemistry as the quarterback, because you're his eyes. So like you could be running one route, but it could turn into something completely different with another coverage, which you have a tendency to report that they're probably going to be in that coverage, but you get dicked sometimes. So then you have to fall back on the fundamentals of the play and your coverage, like knowing coverage. So a lot of that stuff was it's crazy. People don't realize that.
My bad for stopping you. I just got a question for Julian real quick. What's your, are you more inside or outside? What's your type?
Well, everyone always thinks I'm a slot, but I would always bitch and complain to everyone on the team. I had I think 52% of my catches on the outside. So, everyone wants to say what they want to say. But, I ended up working in the slot a lot more when I got older. You lose the speed, you got to go to the quickness, bubs.
But being smart is what keeps you around a lot longer.
And being I can attest to that. Being smart means you guys might see Julian or Jerry run up and run across the field. They might push up 10 and come across the field. But what you don't know is that they have to stay quarterback friendly, meaning they have to come back downhill slightly. Because if there's a defender that's cutting them off, if he just goes straight, he can undercut him and he can smack the ball down. But if you're staying quarterback friendly, the quarterback can get that ball to you either low or on your chest. So those other things, little techniques and tactics that you can use to being a great, smart football player. Jerry, you, Kodak Black, and Lamar Jackson all from the same area, right? Is there a commonality with you guys having the success that you've had?
I mean, I feel like us Floridians, we just got a certain type of swagger we hold ourselves, you feel me? So like, we just got that swag and that competitive mindset, you know, we feel like we're the best at everything we do. So I feel like that's just how we was raised and how we grew up, just being where we from.
That's true.
For sure.
That's true.
For sure. We just got that swag, you feel me?
You guys dip your toe in that Pacific over in California. I don't know, the swag might go a little higher. I'm just saying, where they all hang out at, they all hang out on the West Coast. I'm just saying.
LG, you're one of 6 players to win consecutive Super Bowl titles with different franchises. What is it like walking out there? Doesn't matter the team, but tell us, what is it like walking out and you're in the Super Bowl? What does that feel like? Because a lot of people don't know what that feel like in here. What is that feeling versus the regular season? Can you give us what's going on?
And beat his former team the next year after he won one. All right, LG.
It is the energy is unmatched. So one thing about me, I tend to find myself trying to get back into the present, trying to bring myself back into what I know I have to do, what I'm there for, the task at hand. And you know, you've heard this since you were a kid, you know, dream about what you want to do. Think about what you want to do. Dream, like, let the game be a part of what you think about, you know, throughout the process of getting prepared for it. So I do find it can get hard to lock in on that. You know, you see all the bright lights. You see, you see Jerry, Jeudy, and Jules, and you walking around here all the time. You're going to be on. You know, we try to stay away from the Instagram and all the social media and stuff, and just stay in the present. That is the hardest part. That is the hardest part for you to do, and that is and being a part of a Super Bowl that is after you just won one, and against the team that you just won with. It is bittersweet, considering the fact that the bitter part is, obviously, I love Jules. I love my running back group. I love those guys over there. Was there, you know, less than a year ago. But the sweet part is they didn't want to give me no money, so I wanted to beat their ass. So, you know, so it was, and that was my funnest one. You know, I had 14 carries, 90 yards, a touchdown. That was my best Super Bowl, and the most fun one I've been a part of. You know, it kind of erased that fumble that I had the year before. So, you know, it was great. You know, and the energy was unmatched. It was a blast. So that is a part of a special journey. Like, not a lot of guys get to be a part of. Chris Long was a part of that as well with me. So, you know, it's great. The energy never leaves for the entire week that you're there. And if you win it, it elevates. So
that's awesome, man. I love that. Julian, like I said before, this guy, Julian, he's one of the best postseason wide receivers we've ever seen. I mean, his numbers are crazy. Also, in 2018, you were Super Bowl MVP. Man, I don't think anybody up here on this, well, he'll probably be able to one of these days. You know, he said he got like 15 years left. 15, 16 years
15,
left.
20, I'm trying to chase Jerry, man. Jerry Rice, man. I'm chasing Jerry.
Tell us, man, please tell me, what does that feel like? What does it feel like, and what happens? Like, what do they give you? They give you a car? What do you get?
Nah, I didn't get no car. That was some bull, man. They stopped doing that year, so I was hoping to roll out in a caddy like everyone else used to have, but it didn't happen. They gave me a silver ball, which was cool. But honestly, you know, I never played in a Super Bowl where it was like we blew a team out. Like, I have heart palpitation from all our Super Bowls. There's so many ups and downs, and just winning that game, like, you just want to win the game. Because I lost one in 2011, and it's the worst offseason of your life when you have that taste in the back of your throat of that you were just there. You were almost there, and you didn't get it done. So, like, the fact that we won, was the only thing, like that was the happiest thing. You get to celebrate with your boys, your brothers that you've been yelled at with, you work hard with, you've been hurt with. You get to celebrate those guys. I think the MVP thing was really cool for like my folks, you know, like that's something more for them. They're more proud of that. That's something they can go and live by. I was just happy to get the win, seriously.
Is that political or is he telling the truth? He said he was happy to get the win.
That's political.
Belichick taught him good.
Hey, he can't rewire. He is wired for good.
I love it. One thing he said, which tells me he's selfless, this game is never about you. And that's one thing I had to learn when I was playing football. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was playing with the 49ers, and my coach sent me to the locker room. He said, I want winners. I told Vernon to go take a shower. I can't coach him. I can't do it. But that day I learned a lot. I learned how to become like Julian. I've learned how to become selfless. I learned how to become a leader and put my teammates first. And when you do that, you're able to become Super Bowl MVP and play as well as Jerry and do the things that LG was able to do. So, you know, a lot of this information that they're sharing with me, I've experienced a lot of it, and so I'm glad you guys are able to hear it firsthand. You guys are both Haitian, right?
Yeah.
You guys are both Haitian.
You zo,
Might as well.
You zo?
Shit, nah, I might as well be though.
Yeah. But you're Haitian.
Yeah, Haitian.
What is it?
La boule, la boule. La boule.
What is it? Is there anything cultural that you do that you use when preparing or, you know, getting ready for a game?
I don't lie, to be honest, I'm like one of them newborn Haitians. You know, my parents and stuff, like, they from Haiti, they're from the roots and stuff. I'm one of the Americanized ones, you feel me? So it's kind of, I don't really got no Haitian ritual or anything that I do before the game or anything. So, nah, not really. I can't relate to that.
I respect. You guys have anything that you do, any pregame rituals?
I used to watch Deion Sanders lay out his uniform. Remember that? I'd always lay out my uniform. I'd lay out my socks, my cleats, my pants, my jersey. And I'd always do that. I would speak with my rabbi every Friday before the game. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to get everything in to make me as confident as possible. So those are the kind of things, and eat the same shit that you eat everything at the hotel. So it's nothing crazy, but I always laid out my uniform. And then the routine I had, you know, my pregame routine was always, you know, the same. You know, get in 4 hours before, hit tubs, body work, go get on the field, do your ball drills, come back in, go over your game plan, eat a little bit, get taped up, then go out.
I mean, I didn't really have too many pregame rituals. I feel like I was, when the day came, I was ready to go. I didn't do a lot of different things. I mean, like we all do, I listen to music. My go-to was Lil Wayne. I'm always banging Wayne all day. So I guess if you want to call that the ritual, that is my ritual. Is I bang Wayne all day long. You know, from the time I wake up to the time I gotta take the headphones off and go play. You know, Wayne got a lot of songs, so yeah, I'm on that all day long.
You
man.
can never play me. I'm from Uptown, baby.
Yeah, yeah. So I think my dog got here. So,
what about you, Jerry?
To be honest, I don't listen to music before the game. You know, I just like to be in the moment. I kind of feel like listening to music and stuff like that kind of distracts me in a way. I don't know. I just like to be in the moment. I just want to hear everything around me, what's going on around my environment. I just want to see everything and just be in the moment for real.
Yo, this dude old school. Yeah, he got an old soul. But no, I love it. This has been great. How many Patriots fans do we have in here? What about Denver? Any Denver fans in here?
I feel it.
No Denver fans in here?
I feel it.
You guys just fans of Jerry's. That's what it is?
Okay.
them Patriots travel well.
What about San Francisco 49ers? Bay Area? All right. Well, look, guys, this has been amazing. I want to thank you all for coming out and listening to their stories and listening to us have a chance to chat about different levels of success and how to become a Super Bowl champion and what it's like to be a Super Bowl champion. This has been truly amazing. I want to thank you all so much, and I'm sure the guys up here thank you as well. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this. Thank you. Also, one other thing, guys, one other thing. The Shop Season 6, March 9th. The Shop Season 6, March 9th. Make sure y'all tune in.